Welcome to Honey of Knowledge. In this video, let's talk about the top things which I have learned from CFA level 1, and these I consider as gems or gifts given to me by CFA by passing the level 1 exams. So the first gem is the concept of window dressing. When I say window dressing, what I mean is in financial statements or in accounting, if a company's financial statement is not prepared in the best way possible, in the most honest way possible, and it is made to look good and it is made to represent the company's health in a not so transparent way, but in a way which creates a kind of a good impression about the company without regarding the actual situation of the company. That is window dressing. A lot of situation in which financial frauds are committed or a lot of shady things which happen in the world of corporate finance is because of window dressing. And if you are an astute investor, you will automatically understand where window dressing is happening or where it's not happening. I don't consider myself to be an expert, so it will be difficult for me to really understand where exactly is window dressing happening or not. But if you explain me that in this particular instance, this is where window dressing is happening through this channel, then I will automatically have some kind of an idea that what you're trying to say, and that is a very vital skill which CFA level 1 has equipped me with. Next is the concept of goodwill. Goodwill essentially looks like a brand value, a kind of a brand recognition, and something which is intangible in nature. And the thing over here is all those things have a kind of a good theoretical meaning and a vibe to it, but in most of the cases when a company goes on to M&A activities and acquires a lot of small companies or even a single company, what it does is it pays a premium on the company's assets. Now whenever you pay a premium on top of company's assets, that premium is the goodwill which will have to reflect on your books, and that comes under the asset section of a balance sheet. So if I have to tell you that goodwill is an intangible asset, it's true. If I have to tell you that goodwill does not exist, it could be true. And if I have to tell you that goodwill is just an acquisition cost, even that is mostly true. Now the next important thing which I understood was depreciation and amortization. Now I won't say that CFA level 1 single-handedly explained me the concept of depreciation and amortization, because I had some kind of an idea before doing CFA level 1 as well, but still it just reinforced that belief and that conceptual understanding. So let's understand this. So if you have some kind of a machinery, it has some kind of a wear and tear, right? And anyone who has done very basic level of mathematics is aware of the concept of depreciation. If a machinery gets wear and tear, you will have to depreciate its value. And it works pretty similar to how compound interest happens, but in just the opposite direction. But after reading CFA level 1, you'll understand that depreciation and amortization is kind of like an expense, and it is kind of like an expense which is for the revenue which will be making out of the machinery which you're using. So in finance, it's the concept that all revenue is at some kind of a cost which is the reason for that revenue. So if you are using some kind of a machine, now that machine has some kind of a revenue generation. Now to generate that revenue, that machine needs to work, and the work which is done by the machine is captured by the depreciation and amortization cost. So when I say depreciation, it's about the tangible assets, the tangible machinery, and when I talk about the amortization, it's intangible assets which generate revenue. So depreciation is the cost associated with the tangible asset for revenue, and amortization is the cost associated with the intangible asset which generates revenue, right? So your D&A expense or depreciation and amortization is just the cost to give you the revenue. Next thing is the concept about non-recurring expenses or extraordinary items. So whenever you are going through the financial statements and especially the income statement, you will get some kind of an entry about the extraordinary item or the special expense or the special profits or the special gains or a one-time gains. There are many synonyms for this, but automatically what you have to understand is whether this expense or revenue or income is one time in nature or it will be a going on feature henceforth. Now if you think that this item, this line item which is contributing to the company's revenue or costs is going to continue, that is your recurring nature, and that's perfectly fine, and that is not going to affect any of your financial analysis. But let's say you figure out that some kind of a line item is non-recurring in nature. Let's say company sells its assets, so definitely that sale proceeds is going to be of a non-recurring nature. So definitely when you're doing any financial analysis, you have to separate out the effect of the non-recurring items. Next is the understanding of various performance tracking measures or performance tracking ratios. Now these ratios generally give you the idea about how the debt is managed, how the cash is managed, how profitable the company is, using just ratios. The reason we use these ratios is to understand pretty objectively about the company's nature of business and its performance without going into the depth of its products, about its life cycle of business and things like which are specific to the company. We just at most go to the industry level, which industry this company belongs to and what is the general theme which is happening in the industry, and respect to that what is the company doing and how it is managing its cash, debt, its profitability numbers and so on. So you can learn a lot about the company's health by just tracking these financial ratios. Now next comes valuation multiples. Now there's a subtle difference between financial ratios and valuation multiples. When I talk about financial ratios, it's the financial health of a company, and essentially it's a way to understand how the company is performing year on year, quarter on quarter, or how exactly the company is at that point of time. But if I have to talk about you valuation multiple, it's I want to understand how costly the company is. Is it underpriced? Is it overpriced? Now if I know the valuation of a company, I can make a decision on whether I can enter into the company now or not. So there's a very thin line of a difference between valuation multiple and a financial ratio. Financial ratio is the health of a company and valuation multiple is going to help me decide whether I should get into the investment of that company or not. So I would say that Google up financial ratios and valuation multiples and you will know more about it than me talking about it. And before you go, don't forget to watch these videos on CFA, which will help you immensely.